It's fine to take a day break, to take a week break, to take 2 weeks break. In fact, the second part of the reason to do that is because it's good to trick your body sometimes. Alrighty, we're back again for part 2 of our intermittent fasting podcast. You might even say we are intermittently talking about intermittent fasting. Gosh, that's so clever, isn't it? So we just finished in part 1, we were talking about the different fasting schedules. So what is next on our agenda?
So I think we should tell the audience. I mean, obviously they would like to know some tips about how, what can they have during this fasting window, and what to avoid.
Yeah.
Right?
So I guess we've kind of briefly mentioned that you.
We started with that. That's why I stopped. I said let's just take it in the next part of the because it's a long drawn out.
All right, now with bated breath, we move on and talk about what can you have.
Okay. So one of the first things that I want to remind you is that. Basically, anything that has sugar will spike your insulin. Anything that has carbohydrate will spike your sugar. So, in other words,
please remember that milk has sugar. Milk and cream.
Milk, cream
are broken down into sugar. So even if you just have cream or milk in your coffee or tea, it's still breaking your fast.
Fruits have sugar, obviously.
Absolutely.
Certain vegetables have it, but I do want to mention here, which again was not in our list of things to talk about, but I just want to say it. And that is
cheeky.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to be cheeky here. You can have a plain vegetable broth soup. Make a soup and just boil the vegetables. Don't eat the vegetables. Just eat the broth.
With spices.
With some whatever spices you want to add in there. It would be fine. Try not to add tadka and stuff like that in and make it more more calories.
Tadka means oil.
Sorry, tadka means oil. Like oil.
Spices cooked in oil.
Seasoned with oil or something.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry. This is a for.
If you really want to be fancy, although we do not recommend this necessarily unless you like to spend a lot of money, you can actually buy little tea packets that make soup, and it's called fasting.
Oh my God.
And he used to make fun of me, but it was a great transition when I was trying to move my fasting to a little longer. You can make it yourself. I'm just saying.
No, I'm saying you can buy vegetable broth, which will cost you like, I don't know.
But if you want to be fancy, you can get...
How much does that broth thing cost? Like 20 rupees or something? You can just take one spoon of that, put it in hot water,
I'm just saying.
and put whatever masalas or spices you
want.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to the real thing.
So what do we when we fast, especially when I fast?
When you fast, there is a reason why I don't fast. I won't go into it right now. But I mean, occasionally I really want to, and I do it. But the best thing you can do is have water. Keep water handy. As soon as you even have an inkling that you are feeling thirsty or hungry or anything, sometimes people actually feel anxious because of the fact that they're fasting, right? So drink a bunch of water. I would say at least 500 ml of water. That will satiate your hunger.
Set an alarm on your phone.
Yeah,
that's what Ajoy does. Set a reminder. Drink water.
I don't fast regularly, but my phone every 2 hours tells me to have water. So it's constant nudging like that can help. You can have soda water like Dr. Jenny does. She just guzzles soda water much to my chagrin, because we have a small difference of opinion about what soda water can cause. But anyway, that's
soda water is fine, and it's a great. It really because of the bubbles. It makes you feel.
Carbon dioxide.
Moving on, because of the bubbles, it makes you feel full, I think. So you feel like you're having something more than just plain water. Speaking of plain water, you can flavor your water with lemon, lime. You can make jeera soda or nimbu pani. Again, as long as there's no sugar in it. So salt is fine.
You can make I guess this is one sweet lime.
Fresh lime soda,
fresh
salted.
Lime soda, salted.
Yeah.
Not with sugar. Then there are warm drinks you can have, right? Green tea, jasmine tea. I have that all the time.
Darjeeling tea, herbal tea. Of course, my favorite, black coffee.
Yeah.
Black coffee, black tea, iced tea in the summer. You can just have plain iced tea. Again, no sugar. Speaking of sugar, please keep in mind that Sugar substitutes are also off the
Yes,
list. I
yes, yes,
think
yes. I'm glad
people
you
think, oh,
mentioned.
I can just have a Diet Coke, or I can put Splenda or what's it called, Sweet and Low in my tea, and I'll be fine. But actually, going back to what Ajoy was saying about insulin, studies have found that artificial sweeteners spike your insulin levels higher than regular
Yeah.
sugar. So if the whole point of fasting is to lower your insulin level, of course, having fake sugar, which is tricking your body because it tastes even more sweet, is kind of defeats the whole purpose of intermittent fasting. So unfortunately, fortunately, you cannot have artificial sweeteners while you're fasting.
Anyway, most of the artificial sweeteners are bad for you anyway.
And that's another topic for another time.
Okay,
but
I
yes,
will not talk
we
about
digress.
that. However, besides food, besides drinks, we should also talk about the fact that there are other things you can do, right? For example, you can distract yourself. Go play a game or take a walk with somebody, or
Get some work done, finish a
some work done.
project.
Yeah.
The time goes by faster if you're concentrating on something else besides your hunger.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, one thing which maybe I'm sorry if I'm jumping ahead here, but a lot of times people, maybe this is more of a myth buster, I'm sorry, so I'm jumping a little bit, but when you're fasting, a lot of people say, I can't fast, I feel lightheaded, my sugar is low.
Yeah, you want to mention it now? I mean, I might as well talk about Mythbusters. So, one of the myth is this, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's pretty unusual medically to become hypoglycemic or to have like a medically significant low blood sugar while fasting, unless
you'll pass out.
Right, unless you are on certain medications or you have certain hormonal conditions where this could happen. And this is a thing. So of course, again, a reason to talk to your doctor before starting. So most times when people feel dizzy or lightheaded or nauseous while fasting, it's one of two reasons. One, you're dehydrated, which is, a common thing. I think us humans in general are not great about drinking water. That's probably the most common reason. Number two is low sodium or low salt. So if anyone out there knows someone or has themselves had low sodium significant enough to be in the hospital, low sodium is serious. It's you feel horrible. You feel like you almost become like someone that has dementia, I mean, it's very, very serious. Not to say that would happen, but even just a little bit low sodium because of fasting will make you feel unwell. So this sounds weird, but what I do and what we recommend to patients is take a tiny amount of salt. I'm talking the size of a fingernail. Put it in your hand and lick it. I can almost guarantee you will feel better. But of course, follow that with a lot of water too.
Correct. Yeah. And can you, I know we kind of mentioned this, but can you talk about, people think that fasting is the same as starving. Can you describe the difference between the two?
Yeah, I mean, so to some extent, I wouldn't say it's starving, but you are denying your body of food for a certain period of time, right? But please remember that our bodies are built to sustain periods of less food or no food. So there's always some kind of nourishment in your body. So you're not starving yourself. You're just using, we like to say, alternative sources of energy, just like Ajoy talked about in part one. So instead of using glucose, which you're constantly feeding into your mouth, you're using fat sources, which most of us, even if you're not overweight or obese, most of us have excess fat lurking around in our body, a lot of times in our muscles, actually. And that's, again, another topic.
Yeah.
But so there's always something around you. You are not starving yourself if you're doing these, within 24-hour fasts for the most part. So the whole goal is to lower your insulin, as we keep saying, but also just to rest your body. It's so important. You have to rest your body. You heal when you sleep. So your body can heal itself when it's not constantly digesting food.
So, you talked about the fact that, there is a difference between fasting and starvation. And, you also talked about, that you said one sentence and that caught my attention because I wanted to bring this up. I'm kind of glad you said our bodies are used to, eating and not eating. That is absolutely true from an evolutionary standpoint. So if you think about when our bodies, were formed at this state, like as Homo sapiens, there was about 250,000 years ago. And surprise, surprise, I'm not going to mention any studies here.
What?
No, I'm
I
not.
was waiting for it. I thought
I
it
knew
was
you're going to.
coming.
No, there is no study.
I'm so disappointed.
I'm just
I feel
talking
like,
about.
are you guys disappointed? Because I know I'm disappointed. A
I
tear is coming to my eye. Maybe I'm just tired. I don't know. Continue.
So all right. I, because it's not a question of a study, it's just a question of human anthropology, right? So human beings, the
So
way,
something nerdy. Okay, I'm relieved.
okay,
Whew.
so human beings, the way we look and behave, including our language, or not, sorry, not including our language, but vocalization, etc. Everything is exactly the way it was about 250,000 years ago. 250,000 years ago, human beings lived in caves. We were hunter-gatherers. Well, not really hunters, actually. That's another myth, but we won't talk about that. We were gatherers, and we had periods of finding trees with good fruit, or finding some harvest, some corn and stuff like that, and not having it because we had to run back into the cave and then hide from the predators, etc. And believe it or not, for days we would not have food, and then come back out again, find something, and then run back in and hide from the predators. So our bodies are actually used to not grazing like a cow. Our bodies are used to eating a lot and then stopping, eating a lot and stopping. So which falls perfectly in line with this fasting mechanism, the intermittent fasting. And therefore, I want to tell you that this is, when people say it's not sustainable, that is not true at all. It is absolutely sustainable. We know people who have been doing fasting, 1 day a meal.
One meal a day.
1 day a meal, 1 meal a day
For
for, I think,
years.
this gentleman that we know, hasn't he done it for like about almost a decade now?
Yeah, and I guess talking about sustainable, remember it's intermittent fasting. So yes, you can do it every day, but we actually recommend taking breaks. So for example,
Yeah,
we're on
true.
vacation now. I'm not fasting. I had breakfast at 9 o'clock this
Yeah,
morning.
talk about that too.
So two reasons. One is just for, you want to, for social reasons, you want to have the free breakfast at your hotel, like I do. I'm not going to waste that free breakfast. Plus, we're in Greece, so I want to try the good food. But anyway, it's fine to take a day break, to take a week break, to take 2 weeks break. In fact, the second part of the reason to do that is because it's good to trick your body sometimes. If your body gets used to a particular pattern, then it starts expecting things. So your body may say, okay, I know that he or she is going to only eat during this time period, so maybe I should adjust metabolism or adjust insulin levels because that's what he or she's been doing for the past 5 months. So changing it up. In fact, again, here I am talking about myself, but I hit a plateau for a while with my weight and for the other reasons that I'm fasting, and I decided to stop fasting for a month, and then I restarted. So for an entire month, I didn't fast at all, and I went back to it a month later, and I found I felt better. My exercise was better. Those last couple kilos I wanted to lose came off easier.
Easily.
So it's great to give yourself a break for your, just in general, and then also for your body's sake too.
Yeah. Okay. So now that we've given them an idea about, some tips and so on, uh, maybe we should talk about actual cases so that they have something to look forward to, saying, oh, this person has done it, so I can too. I mean, just isn't that how you learned? You looked at other people and said, oh yeah, this has worked on them.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it working for my patients.
Yeah.
So one of my patients, I remember young guy in his 20s, had he'd always had some anxiety, but he had an unfortunate trigger in his life that made things significantly worse. And he had gained weight and he wasn't sleeping at all, like actually not sleeping at all, and other issues. Haha.
Well, this is where I need to.
Wake up there. So he decided, not from my recommendation, but from one of his friends actually, to do fasting. And in, gosh, a 6-month period, he lost 40 kilos, which is faster than I would have recommended. However, he lost a bunch of weight. He came off of his anxiety. He was on 3 anxiety and depression medications, came off of them completely. He was able to space out his therapy sessions, and his sleep was back to normal. So he also had acne that was essentially cured. So multiple, and someone otherwise healthy that had unfortunately a mental health crisis, all those manifestations of the mental health crisis were cured by fasting. And what he did is he did fairly long fasts for this period, and then he just kind of brought it back to, I think he was doing only 16/8 when I finally saw him after that 6-month period. So he did a bunch so he could lose that weight and help his body heal and his mind heal. And he came back to just doing shorter fasts intermittently, hence the name IF. So he was a great example. One of our patients in India, unfortunately, was blessed with not one but two autoimmune and inflammatory conditions that were really affecting her life. And she started fasting, also relatively short, 16/8, 18/6 fasts, and saw huge improvements in her quality of life, which we were surprised at how quickly she started feeling better.
I think it's a question of discipline. If you are disciplined about it and you say, no, I'm going to stick to this and I want to see a difference, and then that's when people see a difference.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the great things about IF that I've seen for myself. Here I'm talking for myself. I am a grazer. I always just like to pick at things. If I'm cooking or if I'm preparing for a party or making things for my kids, I like to just, snack while I'm doing it, which I'm bored. And now that I fast, I'm used to cooking without tasting. I'm used to feeding my kids without eating or finishing the last couple bites on the plate, which I know a lot of parents do just out of habit. I'm used to that now. So even if a day like today where I'm not fasting, I had breakfast, I had lunch, and I'll have dinner, but nothing in between, which is totally out of character for me. I mean, ask Ajoy. A couple of years ago, I would have just been snacking throughout the day. So it teaches you to be okay with being hungry and be okay with not constantly feeding your stomach. Not, doctors used to say, and probably still say, eat like a bird throughout the day, but that's really not what the human body is built for.
The hunger part reminded me just one little thing. Ask yourself, when was the last time you actually truly felt hungry? If you have not, then therein lies your answer.
Isn't that a Gandhiji way of life?
Yes,
That's what you taught me, I remember.
And
eat until you're full, but not over full and uncomfortable.
So there is a Japanese phrase or idiom, if you want to call it. It's called hara hachibu. Hara hachibu means don't, eat, but just about enough. Don't eat till you're absolutely full. Make sure that there is room in your stomach when you're finished with your food. So this has not very little to do with fasting, but it has a lot to do with general attitude in life. So I just wanted to kind of randomly mention that.
And that actually, your random thoughts, as usual, have reminded me of something I wanted to mention about tips for fasting. So now that I've been practicing fasting for several years, it really makes you think about what you eat during your fasting period, which we didn't necessarily talk about. You really want to have something that's quote unquote window worthy. So window meaning your eating window. So you don't want to eat French fries in theory, you don't want to eat French fries and cake and milkshakes during your window period. You want to have something nourishing that accomplishes your calorie goals, your macro goals. Of course, we don't recommend counting all of these numbers, but you want to have good protein, good fats, fiber, of course, my favorite nutrient, water. You want to be able to fit all this in
during... Reminds me of something. Go ahead. Finish.
You want to be able to fit all this in during your precious window of eating. So one thing that... wait, can I just finish this? Because I'll forget. One thing, when I break my fast, the first thing I have is something that's very high protein and preferably high fiber too, because it fills me up quickly and it prevents me from eating everything in the kitchen, which at some point I want to do if I've been fasting for 18, 20 hours, right? So I typically will have some tofu, some nuts, peanuts in particular, because we live in Mumbai.
That's exactly what I wanted to say.
I gotcha. So something high protein, high fiber, good fats, avocado, something like that. So you don't want to go for that bag of chips or that bowl of ice cream. You want to have something.
I have nothing to say now.
You want to trick out your partner and Get him before
I
he
really
even
was,
says it.
I was, did you know
We've
that I
been,
was going to say
no,
that?
I didn't. We've been working together for too long, I suppose.
Shoot. Okay. All right.
So basically, the whole theme of today's and yesterday's podcast is that Mumbai peanuts rule the world. That's basically what I'm saying.
Okay. All right.
And on that note,
On that note, hopefully you got enough information from these two podcasts to give you a good idea about fasting. And you can look up some of our YouTube videos. You can look up our website. There are several articles that we've written on fasting and how it has helped our patients, how it has helped us. If you have any questions, again, under every podcast there is a little comment section. Go ahead and post it there. We'd be more than happy to reply back and maybe even share it with the rest of the audience.
yeah, and this was a kind of general overview of fasting, so hopefully we'll get more into what specific diseases fasting can help prevent or help treat, and how and why and when and where.
Okay,
you want to go get some peanuts now? I feel like we should have some peanuts.
In
Oh, wait,
Greece.
we're in Greece. So maybe we'll have some olives.
Yeah, instead. Okay. Thank you so much, folks. Hopefully
Thank
this will
you.
help.
Have a lovely day.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
We really hope you enjoyed our conversation. Can you think about one thing or an idea that you can start to introduce into your own life that will help make your life healthier and less stressful?
If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd really appreciate it if you can take a few seconds to share the podcast with your friends and families. Thank you so much for listening.
And always remember, your health is literally in your own hands. Making lifestyle changes is not an easy task, but we promise you will be aptly rewarded with a long, healthy, and disease-free life.